think this is definitely the prettiest thing we've milled so far. Man, it's gonna be so close. Oh man, I got a full strip. All right. You gotta hold it like this from turning. And I'm gonna push. Hold that. This is an 18-foot cedar cant that we milled. We're going to be using this and a couple other cedars to build our front porch. It's gonna be pretty cool because we're gonna build it using only wood that we milled. So that's gonna be a first for us. So we went ahead and turned the log into a cant yesterday, and today we're gonna go ahead and cut it into the exact pieces that we need. And then we'll do a couple more logs and keep going until we're done. Crazy how vibrant and pink this wood is. I think this is definitely the prettiest thing we've milled so far. Well, the ground's just covered in pink sawdust. So crazy. Look at all that, just pink sawdust. All right, so we just wrapped up for the day with our cedar. Went ahead and cleaned up the mill and everything. Just looking at all this lumber that we got out, it just looks amazing. It's really vibrant and has all these pinks and purples in it straight off the mill. This is probably the prettiest wood that I've seen so far that we've milled. We got a lot of good stuff out of it. We got this big beam that we're gonna attach our rafters to, and then we got our ledger board. And these are 18 feet long, so it was crazy that we could do an 18-foot log. We also got a bunch of 2x6s out that we're gonna use for our rafters. So we have a pile over there, those are all 8 foot, and then we got a couple more long ones that we can cut some more 8-foot pieces out of. But overall, I'd say everything went pretty smooth. Everything looks great, so we're happy with this. And tomorrow we're gonna continue cutting some more until we have enough to go ahead and start building the porch. So we have another log that we're about to throw up on the mill. This one's a little over 8 feet, and we're gonna be using this one to get 1 or maybe 2 posts out of, 6x6 posts. And this is what we're gonna be building. And I wanna shout out Tony for helping us draw this up, but we already have the ledger, the fascia, the beam, and maybe like 7 or 8 rafters done. And so now with this log and then the other 17-foot log, we have to try to get the rest of the lumber. It's kind of a challenge looking at this, trying to figure out exactly how to orient the log so that you get the most out of it. So we've been looking at this, and we really want to try to get 2 out of it, but it's looking like we're just gonna get 1, so we'll kind of see what happens once we get it on there. And so after we get all 3 of our posts and the rest of our rafters, we're gonna start cutting some 2x4 purlins for the metal roof. So let's go ahead and get this log on the mill and start cutting it. These are just some backstops so the log doesn't roll off when we put it on, and to hold it in place while we're milling it. Hey. All right, so we got all of our milled lumber moved over to the front porch, and we still have one more log that we're finishing up milling, but first we wanted to go ahead and get started on our footers. So we're gonna be pouring 3 concrete footers, but we need to go ahead and do that now so they have time to cure. So we're gonna do that. We have the majority of it done now, so we should be good to go. Come on. All right, so we just finished digging our 3 holes for our concrete, and we used the tractor auger. We ended up hitting limestone, so got about a foot down. And last time we were digging holes was over for our sawmill. We did all those posts, and when we were digging, we ended up finding a bunch of fossils. This one actually has crinoids in it, which are like 300 to 400 million years old, and were sea creatures. So it's really crazy to think that this whole area was underwater at some point in time. So that was pretty cool to find. And then also a couple weeks ago, our neighbor Cecil was walking around and he found some arrowheads, and they had popped up from when we graded the land, but these ones are Pickwick points, and they're commonly found in this area, kind of North Alabama, Southern Tennessee area, which is really cool that, you know, 3,000 years ago, these were being used. And he also found this scraper. So yeah, it's always cool finding stuff like this, so I always think it's worth looking around for stuff like that when we're digging holes. But now that we got our holes dug, we're going to start forming up our concrete. Forms are all done now, so we're ready to start pouring. So we're about to start mixing up our concrete. And after we pour it, we're gonna be putting these in. These are brackets that our posts are gonna attach to, and it'll also keep them off the ground. And so for the ones we're actually putting in there, we covered them with tape just so we don't get concrete all over them. So let's go ahead and start pouring our concrete. the concrete cure overnight, and so now we're doing the big reveal. Now before I do this, I just want to say there's a reason that we didn't do our concrete ourselves. So go easy on us. There's also a reason we're going to cover it up later. Honestly, it's better than I expected. I mean, it's like, doesn't look that great or anything, but yeah, this thing's really in there. By the way, I'll put a link to these in the description. There we go. Kept the concrete off it. Now we'll come in with our post, just like that, and it's ready to go. It's like pine straight off the mill. I feel like, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like the chosen one. Turns out Dad's gonna be the chosen one.
Apparently you're not gonna be the chosen one.
I'm the chosen one. Some lightning striking it when I. So here's the big reveal, and it actually turned out a lot better than I expected. I thought it was going to be all rough on the edges, and I mean, it is a little bit, but I think it looks pretty good. Originally, when we milled this wood, we were going to do true to size. So instead of the dimensional lumber like you get at the store, where it'd be 5.5 by 5.5, we were going to make it exactly 6 by 6. But all these brackets that are on Amazon are made for that dimensional lumber, so we decided to just do it how it would be if you bought it from Home Depot or wherever. So we got those, and then we also got these hangers for hanging up our rafters. Now that'll just fit perfect on there, so we won't have to worry about that. We got a bunch of these, and then we also cut this long 18-foot board that we're going to use as our ledger board. Now we need to go ahead and hang this up, so we need to figure out where the center is and how to get it exactly level. And then we're going to be hanging all these on there so we have a place to hang our rafters. And so we set up the laser level, so we'll be able to use this to get a straight line all the way across. And so now we just have to figure out where the center is. So we're using this plumb bob, and it's attached to a string. You hang it down, and then you can see where the center is. So I'm going to line it up here on this ridge beam that it lines up right on this stud. So it turns out when we put in our windows, we were off by a 2x4, so they're not perfectly centered, but I mean, who's gonna ever know about that anyway? Except for all the people watching this. Now we know that center, and we can mark the center on our ledger, and we'll be able to get it perfectly even on both sides. Tape measures. And were you doing 2 on each one, or just the first line?
Two on each one.
What's that? You should do your second one.
This line goes with the rock wall.
How hard do I do it?
Just about there. I did it so it just kind of touched. You can kind of see. If you watch it, it kind of goes.
right, so we got our ledger up now, and it started raining on us, so we're gonna stop for now. But this is officially the longest beam, or the longest board anywhere on the shed, and we milled it ourselves. So 18-foot board. It was pretty heavy, and we used some 6-inch ledger lock screws to screw it in, secure it, and it is up there for good now. So we also went ahead and marked everywhere where we're gonna put a rafter hanger, so we'll be ready to go with that. The majority of the wood is milled now. We just have a few more rafters and one beam to do, so we should be able to knock out the rest of that milling and put up the porch next week. So we're set up and ready to go. Thank you so much for liking the videos and subscribing. And I also want to give a huge shout out to everyone that backs us over on Patreon. Really appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.